In today's episode, Victoria asks, what advice would you give to a marketer who is brand new to the corporate space? Oh, well, before anything else, a marketer, any marketer, and regardless of whether you're brand new or you've been at the company for 50 years, you need to understand the STEM framework and how your work and your role will fit into it. And the STEM framework is something that we use at Trust Insights. It stands for strategy, tactics, execution, and measurement. Where do you fit into any of those things, and do you do you understand what they are for your company? So let's step through this framework. For strategy, there's two kinds of strategy. There's actually more than two, but let's start with two. There's grand strategy and then marketing strategy. Grand strategy is the purpose of the company. What is the company's purpose? What does it do? Why does this company exist? And what needs does it serve? What problems does it serve? So you need to understand that first. What is the company's grand strategy? From there, you step down to what is the marketing strategy. So why is marketing the way it is? What are the corporate and business reasons that marketing is structured in the way it is? What is marketing's mission? What is the purpose of marketing at a company? For some companies, marketing can exist as a brand steward more than anything else. And there's not much in the way of driving like sales directly from marketing. In other companies, marketing is 100% a lead generation machine, and marketers' job is just to crank out the leads like a factory. So it will vary based on your company's culture. Once you understand strategy, the next is the tactics. If strategy is the why, tactics are the what. What are the choices that the company has made to pursue? So what tools will the company use? What methods will the company use? What tactics? This is where you would choose things like, what are our tactical choices for reaching new audiences? Do we use social media? Do we use public relations? Do we use advertising? What choices have we made? What are our choices limited by? Some companies are limited by people, staff, and skills. Other companies are limited by budget and resources. Other companies are limited, in many cases, by regulations. There are things, for example, depending on your company, if you are in a highly regulated industry like healthcare or finance, there are things that you're simply not allowed to do, or avenues that are cut off from you. Real good example is pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical companies, by and large, are not permitted to advertise their products within, or they are within very strict guidelines. So in a lot of cases, you'll see pharmaceutical companies doing advertising and thought leadership about what's called disease states, meaning they talk about the disease itself and not their particular treatment for it, because they can't. They can't show ads on Google AdWords. They can't show ads on Facebook, but they can educate the customer about the disease state. So those are all tactics. The tactics are the choices that we make. Execution is how do you do the thing. So once you've chosen Facebook as a channel, as a tactic, how do you use Facebook to get the maximum effect that you want, the impact? And this is where things like ads and creative and music and all the pieces that go into your execution are determined. And if you're brand new to marketing and you're brand new to the corporate space, there's a good chance that most of your work is going to be in execution up front. You're going to very, very rarely touch strategy and probably not even touch tactics all that much. And of course, the final step in the framework is measurement. How do you measure success? What are the KPIs at each level of that framework? What are the KPIs of the business strategy, which are things like revenue, the P&L, and so on and forth? What are marketing's KPIs? What is marketing judged on? Remember, a KPI is a key performance indicator, and it is a number on which you are either promoted or fired. Right? That is a KPI. If you're working with a number that will not get you promoted or fired, it's not a KPI. So measurement, there are layers of KPIs. There are the business KPIs. There's marketing's KPIs. They're your personal KPIs. What do you have to do to get promoted or fired. If you don't have a clear understanding of that number, that's probably a really important thing for you to figure out very early on in your career. The distinction between all these different types of strategy, tactics, and execution is an important one, because you need to understand how the big picture fits in. Imagine your company was a restaurant, right? Your grand strategy is, what is the restaurant? Is it a Japanese restaurant? Is it a Thai restaurant? Is it a Dutch restaurant? Is it a German restaurant? What kind of what is the overall theme of the restaurant? Is it fast food? Is it fine dining? Is it a bar? That's your grand strategy. Your marketing strategy would be, what's on the menu? Okay, you've chosen that you are a German restaurant. Do you serve what different types of pretzels? Are you like a Bavarian German restaurant? If so, what's on the menu? Is it pretzels and sausage and beer? Is it more contemporary German food? What is the menu? That's your marketing strategy. Again, if you're a restaurant, the tactics are, what are the methods that you're going to be using for cooking? If you are, if you have chosen that you're going to focus on Bavarian cuisine, then you're going to be doing a lot of baking, right? So that you will choose different baking methods, which will necessitate different types of techniques and equipment and stuff like that. And then the execution. What are the individual recipes? Did you get a very unique recipe from your friend Hans, from his family's Bavarian restaurant back in Germany? Did you have a wonderful meal at a restaurant in Munich, and you're like, this is something I want to bring to my country? So what are the individual recipes that you're cooking? And of course, the things go with them. What utensils will you need? So if you're going to make Bavarian-style pretzels, guess what? You need to have lye. You need to have sodium hydroxide in order to be able to get the caramelization on a pretzel, to turn that nice dark color. And of course, you need to measure all this stuff. What are your prices per unit? How many customers did you get? What are your margins? All these things. So, not to say that you work in a restaurant, but the idea of what is the theme of the restaurant, the menu, the methods, the recipes, and the measurement is a conceptual framework for you to understand the overall strategic framework of a company, particularly in the corporate space, where people will bandy these words around and not be real clear about what they mean. People often talk about like their Facebook strategy. Your Facebook strategy is always a why question. Why are you on Facebook? If you're talking about what and how, you're not doing strategy anymore. Now you're doing tactics and execution. And so keep that in mind as well. If you're asking why questions, you're generally talking about strategy. If you're asking what questions, you're generally talking about tactics. And if you're asking how questions, you're generally talking about execution. That's the first place I would start for a marketer who's new to the corporate space, is to do a mini audit. Just figure out where things stand so that you can make great choices and you can figure out how you can contribute to the company in the best way possible. As always, please leave additional comments in the comments box, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.